Hello to viewers. Welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about low birth rate is just death with extra steps. So let's dive into spicy topic. So what exactly is the problem here? Well, the problem is this is the first time when almost 150 countries have went into basically what we call below replacement level. That has never ever happened. Meaning from the beginning of written history to at this point in time, we were always at averaging basically 8 to 9 kids simply because there was no other option. Meaning if you did not have 8 or 9 kids, you're gonna go extinct because death was so powerful. Majority of children were just getting poofed at childbirth itself, so or just afterwards. So fundamentally we had a very high death rate and we had to had very high birth rate in order to keep everything in equilibrium. That's why population was not expanding. But as our medical technology grew, as our population grew, because of that more technology, more advancement happened. Now you reached a point where if you had 6 7 kids, you can actually raise all of them. Like even if you're only having 2 kids, you can raise both of them. Like most of the time it is expected in normal timeline after like 1950s or even let's just say 1980s that if you have 2 kids, they're gonna be fine. So fundamentally this is the first time the number went below 2, basically below 2.1. It must be 2.1. And if you have hard time understanding why it's that 0.1 is there, 0.1 is simply in this way, is that majority of women will have minimum 2, some will have 3 or 4 because some will have either early death or no child or might only have 1 kid. So to have equilibrium, it must be at 2.1. It cannot be at 2. At 2, you are way too, like even on a small population, you are way too close to getting kaput if you had minor accident like tsunami, earthquake or things of that nature. Like if few children go away, it will create what we call cascade failure. So 2.1 is the bare minimum. And here's the deal. You have to understand about human psychology. Human psychology is really good when it comes to fasting. Meaning, if you draw atom boom to someone's face, they will figure out what to do 5 minutes later. Now, here's the deal. If you expose that same mind that was so fast to creeping disasters, it's like, what the hell happening? For example, why humanity is not solving global warming? It's creeping disaster. Like it's almost like a drought. Drought never happens like ta-da, drought. It never happens like that. It's always like, okay, water level went down a little bit. Okay, it went down even a little bit. Like there's more than enough time to react, take precautions and handle the situation before it gets worse. But everywhere in human civilization, we F it up. Why? Creeping disaster does not register in our brain. It's literally, if you are moving too slow, our brain just removes the data. Like urgency, if it's urgent, we good, we got this. Like that's why you will see humanity moving so fast. The moment a disaster happens, humans are like, bro, we got this, we gotta solve this, and they solve it. It's like, how the heck? And that's the whole point. Creeping disaster does not make sense to us. So we are very slow, almost negligent or what you will call blind to slow changes, and then it goes kaboom. It's why we neglect maintenance on critical infrastructure until something bad happens. It's like, oh, we were noticing the crack, growing, but it was like, oh. It's like it happens. It's a human nature thing. It's not you and me. It's human nature. Our brain, ironically, is designed for high-speed calculation. Have you ever looked into how fast a F1 driver reacts and imagine how fast a fighter jet pilots can react? Yeah, we good at high speed. Like we good at slow speed. It's like our brain is like something is happening or something. So that's the problem. And another aspect is that we have been sold a lie for so long that people actually believe it. That's the problem with it. And this will give you the idea. It's like, oh, birth rate is dropping, that's awesome. Like for China or India, it's awesome. No, it does not matter what is your starting population, because this will happen, which we call a 4 to 1. I did not mention this is from China. So 4 to 1 gives you 90-year deadline. Does not matter what is the starting population. If you're looking at Japan, same 90-year deadline. If you're looking at India, same 90-year deadline. Looking at China, exact 90 years. Now I have to say there were a lot of mathematicians that did warn the Chinese communist parties, like, do not smoke this way, this is bad, this will destroy the country. And they're like, no, we're gonna smoke it, because again, slow changes does not make sense to us. So they did this, and now they're like, okay, 3-child policy, because again, they know it has to be 2.1, so they are forcing 3-child child policy. I'm not even joking, is there in CCP owns website and all that, so you can find it. And in this regard, I have to say Indians were good at mathematics back then. We had like hum do hamare do, like you too, basically me too, me and my wife will have 2 children. We always had good understanding of mathematics in that regard. Unfortunately, it was still built on a lie. The idea was we must reduce the population, because like all problem has one solution: reduce the population. It's like somehow we did not study history for some reason, but like That is the whole point of humanity, is that if you take a man, what you have to do to destroy them, there is nothing you can do. Like, there is flat out nothing you can do to destroy men unless you corrupt them with a lie. And I have to say, this is one thing that is universal in all cultures, all religion. It does not matter we are talking about basically Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, or like, Jewish or whatever have you. Almost all cultures have very serious red alerts about lies, and this is the prime reason. If I convince you of a lie, you're gonna self-destruct, like flat out. Whole cultures, whole country, whole civilization has been self-deleted in past simply because of a lie. So we are very vulnerable to lie, and because we are blind to creeping disaster, if a lie is causing a mistake, God help you. Like, for example, I have been screaming on top of my lung that dams causes very serious drought conditions. And even though mathematics is known, sorted is like, yeah, you increase the surface area of the water reservoir exponentially. So if it was like 100 square kilometer of surface area exposed to wind and sunlight, now you have exposed like thousands of kilometer of it. It will cause maximum evaporation. So you're going to lose a lot of water just there, and downstream will be completely kaput. And again, it takes 30 years to completely kaput the river, which is happening. Again, that 30-year timeline is for places that are close to equator. For example, India, China. China was going YOLO on dam creation in 1990s. Now they're like, oh, our rivers that has never been dried, it's like went kaput. Oh yeah, 30 years ago, people were warning you. You did not listen. The only way I can get Indians to listen that dams are bad is like, oh, China is building a dam on a river that crosses to us. Then it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. So fundamentally, we do have this limitation, and I do not consider it as good or bad. It's just that human condition. We are very bad to creeping disasters. So fundamentally, there are serious problem, and this is not a good map. This is from 2024. Only give or take 50 countries are okay out of 200. 130 is already kaput. India is already kaput, and India has two large population, Hindu and Muslim. So Hindus are kaput. Basically, what makes India India, they are kaput. So, and basically African nations, they are safe as of now. So this is the fundamental problem. Now, where this brain damage came from? This brain damage came from Malthusian, basically. Malthusian catastrophe is the idea that you must have heard, and people will talk about like how you can have a bacteria in a growth medium, and bacteria will keep growing, and until it has exhausted all the resources, and then it's going to die. That's what they talk about, Malthusian catastrophe or crisis or something like that. But here's the deal. This is a retard. Like, mathematically, what we classify as a retard. He does not know mathematics. And this retard is from old times, like ancient times. How ancient? Thomas Robert Matthews came from this, like basically this brain damage in 1798. That's when he created the first book, this book. And then he revised it multiple times because numbers were not lining up. The last revision was done by him in 1826. Now, here's it. The reason why I'm saying that is was mathematics was broke on 100% level is that 1 billion equals death planet-wide. And if you know India and if you know China, you know both of these puppies are 3 billion combined. What the hell? So yeah, mathematics was bad. Now here's the colonial government, be it France, be it UK, they loved this. They had orgasm over this. They're like, oh. And if you ever wondered like where does this idea of sensex started? Because of him in 1800. So the idea of sensex started because before that it was like death rate was so high, nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. He created the idea. It's like, no, you have to monitor things and control things, otherwise it will get out of hand. Like there is no getting out of hand, but somehow he convinced the world, and they loved it. Now here's the whenever this sort of idea is happening, even good meaning people, which are the worst kind of people, because again, when they cause harm to others, they're like, no, it's something else. It's like, no, you did it. So good meaning people, they always want to delete the other, whatever the other may be. It could be other religion, it could be poor people, it could be this, it could be that. Go YOLO on it. So it generally gives you a very good reason to poof the other, be it in India, be it Africa, be it everywhere else. So they loved it. Colonial government just like orgasmed over it. And again, the idea died out. People kind of realized this was stupid, and it never actually died out because again, this is such a good orgasmic solution. It's like, oh, you have this problem, poof the people. That's not a solution, but again, it feels so good. It's like all my problem would be solved with this one action. It's like, oh, India has water shortage, poof the people, problem solved. It's like, oh, India has food shortage, poof the people, solve the problem. It's like, that's not how it works. And again, this is from 1800s, and people in recent times, as in like the population boom, this book was published in 1968. And again, people's colleges, universities, they all taught this. Like this is some mathematical fact because again, they saw bacteria doing this in a dish. not this 1.5 kilogram object, but somehow bacteria in this is same in all the educated brain damage people. So according to this book, there's supposed to be mass famine, like shift delete humanity kind of famines in 80s. And you're like, bro, I was not even born in 80s. That's the point. He was smoking, not a good one. So fundamentally, why all these people's mathematics always fail? Because A, we are not bacteria. B, we have what we call innovation. What does that mean? That simply means our population was barely 1 billion, like 1820s. That's the first time where like rough enough census started, and then our population expanded. But here's the deal: you'll pay attention to abject poverty, or what we call extreme poverty. It actually started to go down. How the heck that happened? And again, how the heck this number went up? Because we have innovation. The fact you and I exist, especially for Indians and Chinese or even Americans, it's simply because we are innovating. We reach a problem. Like for example, India's first generation, 30 years after basically our independence, they were bad condition, like bad. East India Company or British government, whatever you want to call it, had drained us. Like World War II had caused massive famine in India. India was shift deleted. Let's be real about it. It was bad. And we worked our ass off. They worked their ass off to just get things rolling, like, just something rolling. And then second generation happened, and they fixed the food and water problem, even milk problem. We had Harit Kranti, Shwet Kranti, basically a white revolution. I know it's spicy sounds, but it's just milk. White revolution and green revolution. Basically, they solved the production problem. At this point in time, if Indians were that kind of ballsy people, we would have been solving the next problem that happened right now is distribution. At this point in time, India feeds easily 2 billion people. Now, like, wait a minute, India actually feeds all of its population? Yes. Because again, I do not know whether you know this, people do not run on photosynthesis. Now, problem with India right now, the modern India, is that we do not have figured out a way of distributing. Our farmers, GG, they got this, they're good. And even our storage systems, we used to have horrendous storage system, but we are solving that. And right now, the main issue is that we have the resource, we have the food, we have the grains and all that. It's just that we haven't figured out how to distribute it. We are working on it. Some people, unfortunately, because this generation has bought into this brain damage, it's like, wouldn't it be better if we just poofed them? Wouldn't it be just better to like just like it's like just no problem. It's like that's why we are not able to solve it. It's like we could easily feed 2 billion. Like we export grains, by the way. Yeah, we got it. We good. We have cheap food and we export grains. We good. We got this. But that's the whole point, because humanity has to have problem-solving skills. Basically, you face your problem, not run away. Basically, when you see this happening, basically critical mass started to cross around 1950s. People started to solve it. It's like, oh, India has this problem. Let's solve it. Again, same happened in Europe. We have this problem. Let's solve it. Like, for example, there was a time in UK, especially in London, it was just poop. There were people pooping. There was nothing else. It was just poop, a poopy city. And they're like, okay, this is a problem. It wouldn't be solved if you just poofed the people. It will be solved if you created sewage network, right? Problem, solve it. So fundamentally, this guy gives you such a good orgasmic answer where it's just like, why work hard? Why solve problems? Wouldn't it be better if I can just like poof it? Like, I'm not even joking. This is the tragic part of my country, is that Indira Gandhi, the first female Prime Minister, and she was did forced sterilization because of this. Yeah, that was bad. So fundamentally, and this basically Malthusian idea never ever dies. Like even today, hipsters are talking about this. Even good people were like, I'm hoping they are good people, but they are the reason why we have a saying, "The road to hell is paved by good intention." It's like, oh, it's like, it will solve all our problem. No, it will not solve your problem. It's like humanity is supposed to have forever expansion, meaning we expand to the earth. Earth has the capacity of, give or take, depending on whose mathematics you're looking at, 20 billion people without any issue. And then you're supposed to expand into moon, then you expand to Mars, then you expand into space itself. And then you keep expanding. Like, that's the whole point of humanity. Like, you have this, not to be limited on this cradle world. This cradle world will be your starting point. You learn, you fix your shit, you keep growing, you keep moving forward, ever and onwards, not cowardly options. Like, wouldn't it be better to just like, and this is why I call them cowardly, simply because if you cannot solve a problem, right? Let's say I and you cannot, like, we sit down and we try to, okay, how can we solve it? We cannot solve it. Cool, awesome. When did our ego become this big enough where it's like, no, nobody ever can solve it? Like, when did that happen? That jump is the part, that's why I'm calling coward. Like, you have to accept your humanity, where it's like, bro, I do not know everything. Just because I cannot solve this problem does not mean nobody else can. But people who internally believe they can't solve it, they are the one who accept this idea. Even though realistic mathematics from 1820 to 2015, and by the way, it's even better now. It's like, yeah, that's not a problem. Of course, it's not perfect, but that's the whole point. You're supposed to have problems, you're supposed to solve them. That's why we have education, that's why we have schools, universities. It's not there to repeat, copy paste the same thing that you had in 1800. Like, you have a problem, awesome, GG, solve it, grow. So this Malthusian catastrophe like somehow got ingrained, and because it feels so good for cowardly people, and there are enough cowardly people, and worst case scenario, if they got a wind of academia, it's a never-ending virus that humanity cannot get rid of. And again, it's like people are like, what if we run away from the problem? It's like, what's the point of you being a human then? Now we come to the serious misunderstanding that people do not get, is that the reason why our problems are far less compared to what they used to be is because of mass production. Basically, our lifespan and quality of life both have doubled from like as early as 1900s. Basically, thousands years of record, people were not living that long. Like 50 years was like, whoa. And most people were just getting injured, crippled, or something bad was happening by the time they were hitting 30. And again, it's worldwide, and even not without colonization. Before that, that was the same thing, because again, death was very powerful. Death was ludicrously powerful. It took modern science and medicine and development in order to stop death. And again, we did not stop it. We just applied disc brake to it. It's like, whoa. Now we can fight to it, and it's like, okay, we can hold it till, let's say, 80. So our lifespan and quality of life, like basically you can poop in a place that does not smell. That was not attainable even by kings. Hot shower, what is that? Smartphone, what is this black magic that looks like a black box? So we have crossed that. Why did that happen? That happened because of EOS, aka economy of scale. That's why we have solved this many problems. Simply because every type of technology and tools became cheaper. Like they became dirty cheap. For example, when you're talking about rakes and metal tools, we used to make them out of wrought iron, very low grade material. Now we can make them like at the early point of industrial revolution, we can make them so strong, so cheaply that a farmer buys the tool and they keep using it. Like people forget, like that was a new thing. That was an old tool used to last. No. Industrial revolution tool lasts because they were made out of high quality materials. Before that, it was like, yeah, bro, good luck. Keep polishing it. Bronze tool do not last that long. So that fact of basically economy of scale allowed everything to be solved. Like a syringe is a magnificent engineering item. How can we have that? How can we have it as disposable, which will look like a black magic to anyone in 1800s? Because again, more demand equals more learning, equals more output. This is the critical asset, and the more demand can only happen if you have large enough population. If you have a small population, nothing is going to be done. And again, that's why it was not done. That's why we do not have mobile phones. Oh, kings used to use smartphone. It's not like that. Like smartphones is a real thing, recent thing. Why? Because you have large enough people. Because you have push. Now people are like, okay, how do we communicate this quickly? How can we do even better? We started with telegram, then we started with two-way radio, then we started with postal services, like faster postal service. Then we better brick by brick, day by day, we improved. And again, this is mathematically known and tested. It's not stupid. It's what we call Writing's law. This was published in 1936. It's like basically how the prices of material goes down and the quality improves. Quality improves, price goes down, everybody wins. That was in 1936. We figured it out. Even we had power law learning curve. Again, all these things are mathematical. Like same way you have Morse law, which we are like, it's just a saying and it still works. And power law is very simple. How much horsepower you need in order to do first of it. For example, let's just say I'm making a device, let's just say fume extractor. If I'm making one piece of it, it's going to take a sweet time. If I'm making 10 of it, the first few will take time, but the latest one won't. What if I'm making hundreds of them? I'm going to automate. So that happens. Basically, the more you have to do something, the more automation you do. And I mean dumb automation also. It's like, okay, what if I do this action multiple times before I'm moving to next step? You don't do that when you're doing one by one. So all of these things created a scenario where we realized that more population equals more problem, equals more solutions, more demand, more learning, more output. And things that you do not even think about is just like thrown away. Basically, if you showed our garbage to someone in 1800, is the best scientist in 1800s, then like, what has humanity cracked? Free energy or something? So fundamentally, and if you reduce the population, like Asman Gold is like, okay, only rich people should have kids. It's like, yeah, nobody will be able to afford anything, and even they will not be able to afford anything because again, mass production won't be there. You can't do mass production. It's like, I'm gonna make 10 cars. That's not mass production. Like you do not even open your mouth when you're talking about something as complex as a car or a vehicle, unless you're talking on 100,000. So fundamentally, no one will be able to afford anything. If population goes low enough, Nothing is affordable. That's why everybody was abjectly poor back in the days. Like, we used to do blood leaching because we did not have any idea. So fundamentally, nothing. Like, even if you had Elon Musk kind of money or Jeff Bezos kind of money, if the whole population disappears, there is no place where they can spend the money. So fundamentally, mass production is the king. And that's why kings did not have smartphones. Like the GPS, the fact that you can have your pizza delivered to you anywhere in 30 to 40 minutes, that was something that kings aspire to. And I do not mean kings, I mean empires. They're like, yo, I got this. They're like, whole, bunch of people working continuously 24 into 7 to give that. And we are like, we do not even care. We use tomato whenever we want. That was rare because the refrigerator wasn't invented. So fundamentally, small population leads to what we call less specialization. And less specialization means to less intelligence in all factors of life. Right now, how many people do you think know how to make syringe? A lot of people. Shrink the population down. Yeah, you will soon run out of people for specialization. Very soon. Like, the population does not even need to shrink a lot. Like, as low as like 1 billion, you will be like, yeah, we do not have half of the medicine we have. Like, yeah, medicine, go away. Technology, lol. And again, all these people have to exist in order to feed that narrow group of people. So even if the planet only has, let's say, 5,000 people who can make the silicon, that 5,000 people exist because there is so much infrastructure supporting them. You reduce the population, yeah, you can't support them. That's the part that somehow everybody's like, oh, if we reduce the population, yeah, we're gonna go back to polio. Like, you do not think about like how much research and development has to do. And again, diseases are normal part of life. Remove humans, remove like humanity itself from earth will still have diseases, it will still have viruses, it will still have mutation, bad things will still happen. So if you do not have like the whole armada of doctors that we have right now, pandemic that happened, or corona pandemic in 2020, it would have shift deleted majority of humanity. So fundamentally, mass production requires mass demand. Mass demand requires bonkers amount of population. If you do not have bonkers amount of population, yeah, good luck. Nothing will work, like flat out. Like, somehow people think, oh, specialization means only. Yes, how would you know? How would you know? And if you have such a low, what you call population, universities have to take anybody who is coming in. They can't filter it. They can't have the best of the best because they are not competing. So fundamentally, we have learned this through the passage of time, that larger the population, the more the problem. The more the problem, the more people you have to solve the problem. And again, it works. That's why we have such a high quality of life. Like, with all the problems that we have, here's still why we have problem with our food. All the foods that were developed in like 1950s, that basically things that we add additives and this and all that, yeah, they were designed in such a way that's like, will it poof you in 50 years or not? They were not designed to, will it poof you in 100 years or not? Like, now we have to create next generation of food additives that are like, yeah, that are safe for 100 years. We haven't done that yet. So, and again, people are working on it. It's just that we never planned for it, that humanity is gonna, like, all people will just live to 100 years. So mass production is the magical key that only works if you have large enough population. You cannot do automation and all that. They will not, those machines are idiotically expensive. So fundamentally, mass production allows us to have the intelligence that allows even more awesome things. Now we come to the final bitter part, is firing missiles at family unit. Now, again, I've already covered this, so I'm just going to roughly cover it. It's basically somewhere in the past century, like let's just say after 1930, somebody fired a missile at women, and that missile was converting enemy. Basically, there always an idea of enemy. Now, that enemy used to be crown or whatever, like your dictator, your government, whatever have you. That was the enemy. It became the husband was the enemy. So they took the missile and made basically the women's, the things they used to hate, directly shifted that to the, basically women's hatred target missile was directly now focused on the husband. So men became the oppressor. Let that be clear. Like, if you ask Indians, we will not say we had problem with British, we will say East India Company. That was the problem. And again, same will go with basically people in Vietnam. They will not say, oh, we hate like all Asian people. It's like, well, no, we hate Japanese. So that was always like, that's how it should be. Like, who caused you harm? They supposed to, not men as whole. Like, we were dying as like pigs, and it's like, oh, the patriarchy is like, yeah, because it's the only surviving structure. Do not go into like a random remote tribe of middle of nowhere where there is no actual competition and no technology. And it's like, oh, they are so awesome. It's like, no, they are not awesome. You do not even see their, what we call, where is their skyscraper? Let's be real about it. They can't handle anything, like flat out. That's why like you have some remote location in Nepal, some remote location in Tibet, you have some remote location in Africa where you have remote tribes. They have some different system. Everywhere else is patriarchy. Why? Because that's the time tested one. So If you have 7 billion people on this planet, 6 billion has to follow this structure. 6 billion, I'm saying like almost 6.9 billion have to follow that. I'm being too optimistic giving 100 million there. They just can't sustain it. They won't even have water system. So fundamentally, that system where men used to have power and used to have bear responsibility, somehow our responsibility became like, oh no, men don't have no responsibility, somehow we are the kings, somehow, even though we are dying. It's just that we became the oppressor. Now here's the deal. The moment you do this, marriage became mute, like flat out. You can't be married to your own oppressor. That's not works. That's why you have to let women go. Like when this line was crossed, let's just say 1930, the end, marriage ended. And this created a very void loop scenario, so which we call harm done to it is valid, meaning, oh, I like in India, a lot of women just poof their husband, a lot of them, like they bury them in the system, thousands of things, and they just justify it. It's like, oh, I was forced into marriage, which again they were not, but they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And people are like, yeah, you go queen. It's like, first, that is very and there are many people who have really bad mathematics. They are like, okay, this is all the result of men's oppression of women. I'm like, do you not understand this will create a forever loop? That next generation of men will like, now will go like, you do know the time moves forward, and this time is like, oh, this is the all the bad things you did to our fathers. It's like, think it through. So the harm done to it is valid. This line, when it is crossed, it's like it's the rot. The rot starts at that point in time. And marriage just became free money. And basically, you want to know where the marriage is free money? Every country that has below 2.1 total fertility rate, 130 country, that has crossed it. So basically, whenever you're saying that total fertility rate dropping, it's not the basically outcome, is the result. It is the outcome of this. This is not the reason. This is the acting force. That's the outcome. Result. Basically, this is the action you take. That's the result. So now here's the deal. Think about it. If men equal oppressor, which again 100% of feminists are agreeing to that, every woman, every constitution, 120 countries agreeing to that. And again, they have Duluth model. Basically, even if a woman is trying to stab you and you defend yourself and she gets injured, you die. Again, I'm not even joking. Like, and people have this weird idea nowadays that you cannot ever poof a woman. It's like, what if she's throwing the child? Which again, is very common. There are a lot of videos about it. It's like women just eating children. And again, in America, I'm pretty sure for some reason, women have a history of putting children in microwave. And again, that's why people were so shocked about that imagery in Flash. I was confused about it, why people are so mad about it. Oh, women have actually done that. So somehow, and again, no, you can never hit her. It's like, no. It's almost like people forgot that you apply disc brakes before train loses control. And again, men are oppressors, so anything they do has to be wrong. So marriage became just free money. Basically, marry, reproduce with someone else, and when you get bored, file false claim, take money, have fun. Go to nearest family court to you. Do not listen to me. Have the balls to go to your near family court. 120 country, pick. And that's why lesbian does not happen. That's why majority of women are not becoming lesbian. Like not even 10% of women are becoming lesbian. Like 10% of every woman ever born are not becoming lesbian. Why not? Like it will solve 100% of your problem. You will have better orgasm, you will have better communication, you will have childbearing also can be done one after the other, which again 2.1 you can easily have like one, you have one, I have one, awesome, and you can filter whose gene code you want to carry in the forward. Everything is awesome, but why not? There is no guaranteed alimony. There is no guarantee. In 2015, US Supreme Court acted on it. It's like, no, we have to give alimony, otherwise women will never marry other women. So they're like, okay. So after that, it's like, lesbian rate dropped. And again, that's why women will rather marry a mirror than other women. It's like, no free money. Without free money, there is no marriage. People don't know marriage is breaking. No, it's alimony. It's not marriage, it's alimony. You can't have marriage when you classified man as oppressor. So now, till this far, you have injured a country, you have destroyed the family unit, you have not ended it. Paternity fraud, when that line becomes legal, yeah, at this point in time, you fired missile at the DNA code of human. That is unacceptable. That is like, yeah, final act that will end women. And I'm like, wait a minute, wouldn't it harm men? No, it will just injure the men who are cucks. And it will have what we call Afghanistan levels scenario result. That's one outcome. There is even worse outcome. That Afghanistan outcome, that is one outcome. Whereas like men is like, I'm not a cuck, I'm not going to listen to you. You're going to listen to me. And if you don't, like, because again, all the alimony, all the fake claims and all that assumes other men are interested in protecting you. If other men are not interested in protecting you, you do not have protection. So That's one option. Second option, which again I'm very happy that men are working on it, is like, yeah, let's just women be women, let's just create our own solution. And I saw just before making this video, I saw a woman bitching about, it's like, oh, men don't want a AI girlfriend, it's like this and that, and misogyny and all that. It's like, you call men equal misogyny, what other option is left? Like, genuinely think it through, what other options are left? If we go somewhere else, or like, to a passport bureau, oh, you are oppressing women and all that. It's like, somehow women cannot make decision. Okay, that's fine. And it's like, okay, if you do not want us, or like, we are not compatible. According to you, your fathers and grandfathers and thousands of generation of them, they are oppressor. Okay, out, I'm out. What other option is left? And like, the AI is not real. Again, it's Mark 1 product. Remember how Mark 1 mobile used to look? Like, we are a 5th generation of mobile phones. 5G network. You do not remember how mobile used to look if you are talking like that. It's like, give it time. So paternity fraud became legal. That just ends the final bond between man and woman, because again, that bond is created on family unit. That family unit is not something natural. It's not something found in animals. Like, herds and all that. Herds, not just man and woman. That is a very human concept. Like, that's very human. And what we replaced it with? We replaced it with brood patriotism, parasitism. Basically, you must have seen this story, or must have been told to you, where you have birds, and basically you have a bird, let's call nesting bird. Nesting bird builds the nest, plants her egg, but here's the the parasite bird comes in and just eats one egg. Now here's the that one is symbolic. It has to be smaller number, as in some scenarios, she can poof basically all 6 eggs in this scenario, and still would be okay, because not all nests are attacked. But if they did that, keep doing it, you will no longer have basically nesting birds, simply because, well, you poofed their offspring. And that's what's happening with human family unit, meaning the man who had the gene code of nesting, the woman was like, no, I do not want nesting gene, I want orgasm gene, like 10 foot long, like 12 hours of horsepower. Like, basically, instead of things that allows us this to grow, you want physical traits. And consequence, the moment that cheating was allowed, is like, yeah, that's bad. Now do it for 2 generations. You're like, okay, the man does not even have the technology in here to, like, okay, how to build nest. That is gone. And you're like, okay, it's about nature and nurture, 50-50%. That's why I said 2 generations. Realistically, 3 to 5 generation, men will not even know how to have a house, because again, they were never their father's product. So the programming did not transfer properly. The hardware was changed. So that's why I said, the moment you do brood patriotism, it's not stable. Genetically, it's not stable. We know this, it is not stable. But forcing this on, and again, like, every country is just like, yeah, this is okay. I'm like, bro, you are shift deleting human progress. That is not sustainable. Like, you cannot have a country where it's like, oh, we realize we have DNA testing, and turns out like most of them are hoes, so we have to block it to save families. And again, I'm not joking. Like, we India keep orgasming about Sanskriti, as in like our culture and this and BS. And Supreme Court is like, you can't use basically DNA testing to get divorce on a cheating wife. Not even joking. Not even joking. Supreme Court. So the moment this line was crossed, paternity fraud became legal. The end. Now, at this point in time, there is rumor, I cannot guarantee it, there are rumors that China is shift deleting all this BS. They're like, yeah, no alimony, no paternity fraud allowed. Like, the woman will never marry. They have to. Because what is better than free money? Some money. It's like, look into China's, a lot of old women are there. It's like, where is my husband? Living is so expensive. It's like, you had a system. Like, your ancestors were not dumb. Your ancestors were not oppressed. They had hard lives. They did the best they could do in that scenario. You disrespect them by saying, oh, they are oppressed, they were dumb. It's like, no, they were smart. They survived hell. You failed. Like, people say, oh, life is hard. It's like, have you ever looked at a photo of Great Depression, or like, oh, inflation? Look into inflation after World War I in Germany. Inflation. So fundamentally, once you start firing missile, this is in India. In Gujarat, most dads fail paternity. Basically, anytime man has a doubt, they try to do like, paternity test, and most of the time, like 98% of the time, kaput. And this is old. This is 2014. Yeah, right now it's like, lol. Good luck if you have your own child. But again, that destroys the nesting gene. Genetic level, like nature and nurture. If you keep kaputting the nature part of it, 3 generations down, you will not have the nature part. So this allowing this was like the bad. And again, I'm hearing rumors that America may be also fixing this part. It's like, no, this line you cannot cross. You be your victim all over you want, but this line you cannot cross. If you're taking his money, you have to take his child. The money and child are not separate. So, but again, this happened. That's why people fell into this sort of escapist mindset, so to say. So what's the outcome of all these missiles? Basically, Methuselah Malthusian Catastrophe is like people just love it because it gives orgasm. Why they fall for it? Because again, family unit has been destroyed fundamentally. So we are left with hell. Now here's the, if a man, like again, I have given up on Hindus simply because again, I go to court, I listen to judge talking to me and things he says to me, I'm like, yeah, I'm out. And again, I have high court now. I cleared one case in, no, two cases in district court. One is still going on district level and one is in high court opening and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, at this point in time, I'm like, yeah, this country is not worth anymore. It's like flat out, like what they are saying, what they are doing. And they're like, okay, we're going to introduce marital rape and all that. And again, it's just a woman's word. I'm like, have you ever heard the concept that women can lie? But again, if you are cuck enough where you actually believe anything that woman says, nature is like, yeah, we got to fire missile at this. This is defective. We have to fire missiles at it. And it's like, you have violence. You have 10,000 things protecting it. Do not cross that line. It's like, do not cross a line where it's like, oh, no woman has ever lied. It's like thousands, millions of fake rape cases and you're still not learned. But again, that does open the Pandora's box. Basically, now you have three options. A, whole humanity dies because again, without men and women, the architecture of family fails. Without architecture of family, there is nothing left that can handle any sort of shockwave. The end. And again, our structure is too huge. Even if you have like few remote companies and like, 1,000 of people, even 10,000. Yeah, we do not know how to do farming and you can't do farming without petrol. And you'll be shocked how quickly that will disappear the moment we have a global catastrophe. So extinction level event, slow extinction, it is possible. Second, violence. Let's just say Afghanistan. Let's just leave it at that. Third, which again, I'm very happy that men are finally growing up and like, yeah, if everything is our problem, let's just make one problem. Let's create AI. I'm happy with that. It's like, and again, if you're like, okay, what if I'm not having family and kids and all that? It's fine. You are free to make that decision. I am free to make that. I have made that decision. But here's the deal. I will never, give myself orgasm and think, oh, I'm doing something great for the planet. Do not ever do that. You are just like, okay, I gave up on this situation. Some people try. They try 5 times. I have no one relative who married 2 times and got after 2 times. I'm like, yeah, please try 3rd time. Please. But again, that's the whole point. A lot of scenarios, people just keep repeating it again. You have to be removed from the gene pool if you are stupid. Like, that's the definition of insanity. Keep doing the same mistake again and again. So I'm like, I'm out. But if somebody else wants to try it, go YOLO on it. And again, Africa is fine. They're doing fine. So I'm out, but I'm not gonna exaggerate. It's like, oh, I'm doing for greater good. No, I'm out. It's as simple as that. It's like a Buddhist monk's approach. It's like, I'm out. Me out. And it's bad for everyone. And you, like, if you are believing in Asmongold, you will believe, oh, only 1% of people who can afford to have it. Even if you only look at 10%, yeah, they will be working in hell. They will go back to the old way of life where they had to farm. There was no other option. It's like, if you got injured, good luck, because there is no doctor. Like, try to scavenge some unexpired alcohol to suture yourself. Good luck. So fundamentally, if 1% only had it, the population collapses to 1%. Even if all of them are having 10 kids, it's still not enough. And what they'll do, they have the money and like give it to 75-year-old old man. It's like, hey, can you come and clean my toilet? That's not gonna happen. So fundamentally, there won't be enough people to take, healthy people to take money, and again, not enough intelligent people to run the infrastructure of anything. Electricity, water, roads, cars. Computers, don't even think about it. Computers right now we can use because we have continuous incoming. The moment incoming stops, you will realize how quickly computer used to go bad. And AI automation needs even bonkers amount of demand. I could see a world which can handle the AI joblessness by utilizing universal basic income, but I can't see a scenario where if humanity populations keeps collapsing, it will work, like flat out. That will not work. Now, for most people, I would say this is one thing that humanity, this is the first time we are happening, we have to figure out how to shift delete ourselves at the end of life. Basically, we have to find a point where we have to end life. Basically, do you have a plan for end of life? Because again, assisted shift deleting is not that common yet. And again, this is thankfully a lot of old people are asking for this, and it's a necessary thing, because here's the deal. It's cool and all saying life is sacred and all that is fun and jazz, but like once you are bedridden and you have no children, and you're like, okay, why don't these have children? They have children, but here's the deal. You do not have children. Like, that's why I keep saying, people saying BS to me. It's like, oh, you should have children for your old age. It's like, no, go to old age house right now. Nobody's there. Nobody wants to be there. Like, can you imagine actually watching someone perish when they are 80 or 90 years old? It's a not fun thing. Like nobody wants to be there. We used to do that because we used to have large families. It was doable. But again, once you start to go away, like if your children goes out for studies, yeah, they're done. They're not coming back. The end. So that's why go to your nearest old age home. All of them have families and all of them have kids. I'm talking about modern generation. They're not going to have any, but they don't have to worry about it. So this is what they're doing. It's like, hey, if we are kaput so badly that all we are is bed ridden, or worst case scenario, God help you, if you have some sort of chronic illness at that stage where doctors are just forcing you to stay alive, it's like, dude, I'm kaput, let me pass peacefully. They are seeking for something like this, and I'm all for it. Like if a old person or even young one, if they actually reach a point where it's like something significant happened, like serious injury, serious psychological damage, like something severe, where it's like, no, you just have suffering left in your life, yeah, you should have the choice to shift it. Again, you can forcefully it. That's why the old people require medical assistance. They are not strong enough to shift delete themselves. Young people, again, people are like, you know what, if you really want to, you can do it yourself. But I'm like, that's messy. But again, different people have different, but old people, everybody agrees to it. And again, heck, I would want that option for myself when I'm like, God help, I do not live like 100 years. It's like, yeesh. And this is like a new pod, like shift delete pod. And you have to understand one interesting thing about human body. Human body does not detect oxygen. Like it has no sensor for oxygen. It has sensors for CO2. Basically, if your CO2 level goes up, you asphyxiate. And that's happening basically when you do this. It's simply because your body is detecting CO2 concentration is going up. Basically, if you must have seen, like some children have passed away unfortunately where they were inhaling helium. But here's the helium can absorb CO2, meaning you can dump CO2, but your body is not receiving oxygen and your body is not triggering a red alert, because again, CO2 concentration is low enough, it's not triggering a red alert, and they passed out and they died because oxygen was deprived. So this chamber utilizes that technique. So it's a hair child chamber and you're supposed to sleep in it, and then it will slowly displace the oxygen with nitrogen. And because you're still dumping CO2 from your body, it will not create any asphyxiation. Basically, you're gonna pass out peacefully. I do like the idea, and the fact that it's 3D printed, I like that idea. But let's see what happens. So let that be very clear. This idea of like, oh, what if you just poof the children, is like, read history. And again, that's why this is Japan. And any place where actually population starts to grow, government is like, we'll give you money. I'm not even joking. Japan is giving money. South Korea is giving money. Russia is giving money. Some other countries are also giving money. It's like, give money, have babies. Because again, it's hell. But again, if you choose to not have family or child, which again, I will not blame you. Heck, I am with you. But do be realistic. It's not like for the greater good. It's very siklampa. We do not have replacement ready. Elon Musk, come on, bro. You got to do better. I've seen 3 companies working on artificial womb and 17 companies working on AI girlfriend bots, and 3 to 7 companies working on the bot, physical bot, like that can move around. So we have people working on it. We got the best people working on it. Come on, ready up. So this was my presentation on basically this delusional idea of like, low birth rate is awesome. No, it's not. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please hit the like button, share it amongst friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon for free. And as always, thanks for watching.